Big Al.
Hello everybody, it's Big Al with some more content for Lord of the Rings Rise to War. Today I am going to talk about Sauron, the most impactful commander in the game. That being said, he is also the most complex in the game, because he can be run pretty much any way you want, but some ways are better than others. So let's take a look at his skills first. So, how you build him also depends on the size of your account. Mine is Respect 4, so mine is kind of perfect to demonstrate on him. So, at first, on his top R0 skill, the Deceiver, damage received by 3 enemy formations plus 10%. It's modified by focus. But here at round 5, on round 1, it has a 35% chance to inflict madness on the target. So, pretty much that's 1 out of 3. And it targeting damage received to 3 enemy formations, that's 6 total targets because the formation is the commander and the unit. So you're going to have a good chance to inflict madness on 2 of those 6. Now, next at the bottom R0 is Lord of Gifts. And this is a damage skill, but it also inflicts madness. So at 10, it minuses 50% healing for the targets, but the main thing is the crowd control. 2 formations have a 30% chance to inflict madness on the target. So there's 4 total targets. So pretty much you're going to get 1, sometimes 2 people with that. Next is the R2 Gathar. This is another damage skill. And at level 5, it gives Keen Eye. At 10, it's focus damage received by the targets plus 15%. So, the important part here is it has a 50% chance to inflict stun for 2 rounds. That is huge. Now let's go to the enemy. And this is a complete debuff skill. Attack, defense, and focus of 3 enemy commanders minus 15%. And the important part there is the percent. It's not a flat number, it's a percent. And then this is also modified by focus. At level 5, Sauron becomes immune to stun, and at level 10, the stat reduction affects all 4 enemy commanders. Look at all this crowd control. You got 2 skills that give madness. You have one that does stun. You have one that's a debuff. He becomes immune to stun. I mean, he is the most impactful commander, and that's hands down. A lot of people like to run him as a tank because his starting stats are decent, and the reason is he's not going to be dealing a lot of damage. He is there for debuff and crowd control. That is his biggest flex. So with that being said, at R4, okay, not sure how many skill points. Okay, he's going to have 70 at R4 and level 48. Okay, so that's enough to get 2 full trees and a couple points in the others. Now what's important here, okay, is this debuff, this madness chance, and this stun. So to me, I am going to put 10 points into the enemy. That way the entire enemy army gets debuffed for attack, defense, and focus. Next, I am going to put 1 point in each of these because I'm not using them for damage, I'm using them for the madness and stun, and I only need 1 point in them. Next, you want 5 points in the Deceiver. And 17 points is not a lot. You can get that at very low levels. And the reason I put 5 points in there is for this madness chance. Okay, this is the priority setup right here to get the most crowd control out of him. So then I'm going to go ahead and finish maxing out the Deceiver because damage received by targets affected by madness plus 5%, but it's for that extra damage output. And then it modifies by focus. You can get an extra 3% modification at per 100 focus. Okay, base level is just fine if you're running him as a tank, and I'll explain why. And then over here on the enemy, the stat reduction is the same thing. You get 3% per 100 focus. So if you're going to run him as a tank, you want complete tank gear. You want something like this. You want things that give, that's not what I meant to do. You want things that give unit defense and command. One thing is, if you can throw a little bit of focus in there, great. If not, don't worry about it, because the base level is fine. So I could throw, you keep the call on him because that's a great item, or I could do like the Herod Cask and go completely defense. Durance Plate. And these aren't necessarily best in slot, but they're best from what I have. So this would be my tank setup. And in here, nothing would change. My stats would stay the same. One thing, if you do have more points, first you want to get 5 points in LoTR. And the reason for that is because that skill gains Keen Eye, which Keen Eye ignores the enemy evade. Again, I'm not looking for damage. I'm looking for the reduction. Now, look here. He has 78 focus at base level. So, even his modification, it gets 3 at 100. You're 3/4 of that. So, you're still, what, 2.25? So, the damage increase is an extra, is, what, up to 17%. And then the stat reduction is going to be the same. So this is kind of huge. And this is how you would do it for a tank. Unit defense and command. You do not have to worry about focus. I mean, if equipment is not an issue, you could throw a Noldor sword. I didn't think I had it on here. A Noldor sword, the Call of the Forest on him to get some focus in there. Now, also, size matters, okay? So let me take this off. That's tank gear. As I have said in my previous video, I believe that my formation is the free-to-play friendly God's gift formation, because you're going to be playing against a lot of whales. Okay, why is it not? What did I do? I messed up. What a surprise. Okay, let me put these back on here really quick. Proto tank and Sauron speed. Now, because I am not using Sauron as a tank, I have my Frodo in front. That means my Sauron is becoming a support. So I want to do everything I can to help my Sauron support the best that he can. And because I am a lot smaller account and I'm facing whales, I'm trying to make Sauron as fast as I can. So I'm using items that all give me initiative. I could not make agility sets, otherwise I would have. But as I said, all these items have initiative. So because he's on my support role, I want him to act first and debuff the enemy, make them take the most damage, get my Sauron to act first or second every round, and do madness or stun as much as possible. So I've showed you tank setup, I've showed you support setup, but I have not talked about changing skills. Now, if you wanted to make him a damage dealer, I highly disagree with this setup, and I hope people don't do it, but I'm going to show you. So, if you're going to set him up for a damage dealer, first you automatically are going to put 5 points in here. Okay? Then you're going to get a point in each of these. Does not matter the order. You're going to put 5 points in here. That way you get that Keen Eye. Next, you would max out Lord of Gifts. After that, back to LoTR. And then if you had any left over, you would then go into the enemy. Again, I do not agree with this setup, but if you have to run him as a damage dealer, Still going to be a little bit of hybrid, but that's how you would do it. And he would get any um, he would get your basic equipment for a focus damage dealer. I don't think I have any loose. Nope. You would have like a dagger, a blazing tongue would work too. Then here you'd want the call or a swan helm. Here you'd want the Numenor plate or the Great Plate of the East, right here. And then back here you are going to want either the smoking pipe or the signet ring because they give commander damage. They also give the most focus. And with that setup, your focus is going to be over 200 easily. So it's going to help him deal damage. But again, you're not using him to his most beneficial to your army. So again, I will go through. I'm going to put 10 points here. 1 point in each of these. Then I'm going to max out the Deceiver. And any extra points in Gathar. That's how he's going to be used. Now, I'm going to show you a report. Oh, actually first, let me go back in there and show you his relic, because that does come often for those people that have spent money and invested to get him up. It is the Smith's Gift. It comes with the stats of command, focus, defense, and unit attack. Now the ability. For the first 2 rounds, the attack and focus of one enemy commander is +1 each round. But from round 3 onward, attack, focus, and initiative -1 each round, and it stacks per each round. So, if you max refined it, you would be talking +6 for the first round and then -6 each round, and it stacks after round 3. So, it's an okay ability. It's not the best, but you're also getting him getting his relic for the additional stats. Now I'm going to go to that report, and I am going to show you a couple things. I just had a fight right here, and I am going to show you the madness and the stuns. If you look down here in Sauron's line, he caused madness 4 times and stuns 6 times. That is low, a little bit low. Usually I'm casting 12 to 14 per fight with him. So that is huge. Now let's go into this part. Okay, I'm also running Woza's Hunters on my Sauron to make sure he acts first in my army. You're generally not going to do this if you have agility sets on your gear. But again, I couldn't. So, because he acted first on a lot of these rounds, he was able to stun or madden at the beginning of each round, which helped me win this fight. Or, I should say, draw on this fight. So these are important things to think about when you're building Sauron. Are you going to be the small fry? If you're going to be the small fry, you definitely want to get speed on him as much as possible. If you're a little bit higher respect level and your whole account is a bit bigger, you're not as worried about the speed because you can withstand the hits. You can withstand the madness or the stuns. So, again, very impactful. He can be used in so many different ways. You can gear him in so many different ways. I do not recommend the Sandclaw for him. The only reason I am using that is because of the initiative, and it worked for what I needed him to do in my army. So, that being said, that's all I got for you. Very, very important on his skills. You make sure you get 1 point at least, no matter what, in the bottom R0 and the R2 for that stun and madness chance. Okay, if you have to take points away to make sure you get one in there, I would take them away from the Deceiver. So if I didn't, if I had 3 points less, I would put 7, or I'd put 8 in here and then put 1 in here and 1 in Gathar. Okay, you do not want to take points away from the enemy because stat reduction on that 4th enemy commander is huge. You are guaranteeing it hits everybody, and you're guaranteeing their damage dealers are going to have less attack or less focus depending on what kind they are. So, if you have to take points away, take it from the deceiver, but always have 1 point in each of those skills. Okay, that's it for me. So, as always, make the most out of what you got.